Hi everyone, how are you going? My name's Michele Edwards, welcome. I'm from Durack Institute of Technology and I'm just going to do a little bit of session on about making a connection today and how to work closely with your industry. So welcome all our people online there as well. Okay, first off, networking to win, what is it? What is it about networking? You know, we're moving into this really competitive environment now where networking with our industry is going to become such an integral part of actually what we do. Making those connections, obviously with the new standards that are coming out as well, is becoming a more important link that we actually need to make. So how are we going to do that is where we're sort of going to have a look at today. So basically, on the big grand schemes of things, it really is thinking globally. Think globally, act locally. So go outside of your box. Think much further and greater and wider than you've ever thought before. The bigger you think, come down to these areas where you want to target into certain areas of business, certain contacts, things like that. But if you broaden your horizons in the first format, it's easy to come down. If you think small, it'll stay small. Okay, so get out there right really big. Okay, this is probably where I started. Hello me, I'm afraid of networking. Okay, I'm one of those people that used to walk into a room and I would be standing in the corner going, what am I going to do? Who am I going to talk to? I'm too afraid to talk to this person and that person. So basically I sort of got into that mode of like, all right, let's take it on as like I'm making some new friends, okay? Not work. Let's take all the pressure out of it and that sort of thing. So I would walk into the room now and I find the person that's sitting on the side doing what I used to do and go, g'day, how you going? My name's Michele. Okay, so getting into that sort of mode, it takes that bit more pressure off yourself to try and sort of step into that realm, especially if you're new at an area of getting into that networking and trying to create those contacts and that sort of thing. Okay. Basically for the planning, the network, I'm going to move this through this area sort of quite quick and then sort of throw it out to questions and have a look at some different areas that we can work and things like that, okay? So first and foremost, prioritising your time. If you're thinking about the type of networks and that you want to make, you really need to think about how much time do I actually have to prepare? How much time can I actually spend time doing this, okay? If you've got a 40-hour week, 30-hour week, a 20-hour week, whatever it is, if I can say, all right, I'm going to spend 1 day a week on it or 2 hours, do it where that's priority time, it's quality time. It's not, I'm going to try and reinvent the world. I'm going to try and, target everybody and everything. So think about prioritising how much time actually can I give to it. That's probably the big thing, thinking about that sort of stuff. Basically, who do you want to meet? What are your contacts? What is your target market? What are you trying to achieve? Where do you want to move in your next phase and things like that? Okay? Consider, for the networking to be more effective, think about the type of networking event that you would like to go to. Is it a nighttime event? Is it networking like in things like we're doing here now? Like getting cards from each other, discussing things. Is it going out and going to Chamber of Commerce events to network and create business there? Again, thinking about your target market and where you want to take that is probably the best step to sort of go to next. Prior to going to this, you need to be sort of thinking about what is it do I have to offer? What makes me special? What makes my organisation, my business, what I have to offer people better than somebody else, okay? Think about that. Have the sell for your business. Think about it you might have heard about the elevator selling speech, okay? You've got a 20-second window basically to go. This is me, this is what I've got to say, and really impress someone. You need to leave that whole creativity. You need to leave, the impression of intrigue, that they want to come back and get some more and things like that, okay? So it's sort of like you step onto the elevator and you've got the president of a company here or a training organisation that you want to actually target, okay? So if that's the scenario, basically you've got to think about it. I've got 2 floors to get that out, okay? Elevator speech, right, in, bang, my name so-and-so, and then go bang, 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 bang. Have that in your head exactly what it is you want to say, that elevator speech, so that you get your message across. And there you're getting, great, thanks very much, you're shaking the hand as they're leaving. And they go, right, I actually want to get back to that person. I need some more information out of them. They've got something to offer me. So it's that really important about, so you're not babbling, like having what it is you actually want to say to those people all the time, okay? So you're selling your business up front. One thing that's also really, really important is actually the researching of your business, that you're going to try and target. If you know a little bit about that business or that organisation that you want to try and offer the training to, you have a step in the head in the right direction before you do on other people as well. So if I meet with someone from Holden or someone from a mines or someone from a hairdressing salon, that sort of thing, if I got a little bit of information about that business and about that community, you know, I can actually have that conversation before I even start with somebody, you know, so it's that little tiny bit of pre-research you can do to make that connection with that person. Then when you're doing that, you know, you're talking to them, it's not that you've just completely walked in and going, hello, how are you? Can tell me all about you. You can go, oh, I've heard really great things about your business. I've heard this. And they think, wow, this person knows about me. I'm a bit intrigued as well. So it's that researching you're doing up front a little bit as well. And sometimes it's just a 5-10 minute Google search these days. It's in your pocket if you see someone walk in the room just about to go, oh, hang on, find a little bit about that person. It's just that preparation you need to do. It's if you were planning a class, prepare your networking. Don't just sort of let it happen. Basically, there's lots of different types of networkers, okay? And I'm sure, you know, with a number of these sitting on the board of like, what type of networker are we, sort of thing. So you've got your close talker, you know. You've always got to be careful of people's spaces, you know. We've all heard about this is my personal space and, you know, you should sort of stay at that arm's distance away. Unless you know someone personally, you shouldn't step inside their space. So be really careful if they're being that close talker type person, okay? You got your grazer and your boozer, okay? I think in any organisation, I can probably name a couple in ours, so, you know, and a couple in other bays as well. And we sort of go, that one maybe got, you know, one too many drinks, or is this one, oh, this is the person that leaves with the plate all the time. You know, in different hair salons that I've dealt with in my background and things as well, there's always that person, oh gosh, it's the same one all the time, that sort of thing. So be really conscious of like what type of person you are and that sort of thing as well. You're there to network and then, you know, like may leave those good lasting impressions all the time. The wallflower we've touched on a little bit, so if you see that wallflower, go and have a chat to them, introduce yourself, remember to work the room. With the room workers are great, but sometimes you've got to be careful, make sure you've got the focus, okay? You can lose track of what it is you were supposed to be doing if you start just, I want to meet everybody in the room and know everything about everybody, but you actually leave with no information. You don't leave with that connection, that person you wanted to make a link with while you were there. So be really conscious of that. It's great to be social, but make sure you make the link as you leave. Yes, I've got that person's card, I've got the contact, I'm going to follow this up. Okay, the pushy salesman, you know, real estates and all that, we all know who's at the top of the list of the pushy people sort of thing. Sometimes you don't want to be those sorts of people either. You've got to find a happy medium almost between all of these, you know. You're the social, you get the message across. You know, you don't want to be in the face of people. Like, I'm one of those people, if someone's a bit pushy to me, even in close shop, I sort of tend to start walking the other way and go, you know, I'll come back later, that sort of thing. So have a think about the type of networking, the way you're going to do that with a person as well. Rightio, so attending the network event. One of the biggest things I believe is getting there early, setting up, being part, having a chat to that person that's how they're setting up. You know, you've got all these people that put a lot of effort into it prior to, they're the ones with all the knowledge. There's so many good things that you can pick up from those people. If you get to there before that, you can pick their brain. Okay, who's coming? You know, all those sorts of things. What type of, you know, event it is. You know, you can get all those different little bits and tricks that you actually could get from that person that's going to help you to connect to the people that you want to in the room as well. You might want to connect to a certain person, a certain training organisation, or a certain different organisation that you want to offer your training to. So in doing that, when you sort of might not know what a particular person looks like, but if you create that ally and that link with that person, they're going to point them out for you because you're going to become that little person's buddy. So building the relationship is really important, and probably about the whole thing with the networking is that it doesn't happen overnight. It is a long process. You're not going to build networks in 5 minutes. They take years, okay? It's like building friendships. You know, the friend that you had from primary school that you're still friends with now is strong as anything, but the one person you met 2 weeks ago, it's a friendship still building. It's the same with building networks in the industry and creating relationships with business. It takes time and effort, and a lot of it is a lot of giving before you get anything back. It's just give, give, give all the time. Okay, then this starts reciprocating and it becomes that relationship going backwards and forwards. I think the next two, quite self-explanatory, always dress appropriately for the events and things like that. You know, have that professional image at all times, no matter what. Even if you're going to sort of sometimes that bit more casual event, dress professionally to represent your organisation. The following up of the contacts is really, really clear, and one of those key things that you sort of need to do as well. So if you say you're going to follow up with someone, do that. It's like, you know, the Telstra person that says they're going to call you back and they might call you back 6 months later. If you say you're going to contact someone, make it happen in the next week. Do it frequently, do it very regularly after the event so that the person's still got you fresh in their mind. They're not going, oh, actually, who are you on the other end of the phone or the email, that sort of thing. Keep it really fresh and regular and that sort of thing. Okay? One of the great sort of stories I've sort of heard about over the years regarding following up contacts was when Golf Whitlam was very trying to build relationships in the 70s with China, rebuilding them after war years and all those sorts of things. And one of the great leaders, when he was leaving, said to him, "Oh, by the way, is Darwin named after Charles Darwin?" And he knew the answer, of course. He says, I might double check. I'm going to get back to you on that. So straight away he left that opening to get back to that person again, and things built over time from that. So it's that thing when you're leaving an event and someone asks you a question, that whole, yes, I'm going to follow this up, that's your foot in the door again. That's your next step in, okay? All right, so being culturally appropriate, very, very applicable for everything these days. What we find as a funny joke is not always a funny joke for everybody else. So, you know, you always just generally always keep it on the safe side with all those sorts of things. Asking others about themselves is really important. We want to get in there and sell our business and our training products and our things to each of these organisations. But you know what? We need to listen to them. They need to be able to tell us about their organisation and what their needs are and things like that. If we don't listen to them, they're going to think that we're not interested in them at all. So we need to make sure we're listening, and you need to be a really good listener, asking the questions at the appropriate time and then really listening to those people, okay? Not, you know, and we've all done it where we sit there and we feel like we're starting to glaze over a little, you know. We've got students in our class, we go, oh, they've glazed over, I've lost them. It happens the same in any networking event. You know, if you feel like you're starting to glaze over, sort of pull yourself back, that sort of thing, you know. Bring someone else into the conversation or anything like that to try and sort of spark it up. But always be a really good listener to the person you're trying to network with all the time. Always be positive and professional. But obviously coming from a regional town, and I'm sure, you know, Perth, even though it is large, it's still like a big country town at sometimes, you know, things I hear from people. But never knock another organisation, never knock the other person, things like that. Always just go, oh, yes, right, no, you know, fluff it all off, but never actually get into that conversation, because all they're going to, especially when it's a fresh relationship, so they're always going to think, well, they're just going to say that about me as well. Okay, so it's that continual professionalism all the time, you know, always being positive and treating everybody equal. One of the things, okay, so after the event, really important that you allow yourself a little bit of time just after the event. You know, a good idea is to create a little database of your client contacts. It's sort of like real estate agents. They create their databases of all of their clients that they've sold houses to, people they've called, the people they want to follow up with, any of that sort of thing. So it's really important, you know, to create that small database, whether it be on your iPad, you create a black book, you know, whatever it may actually be, but just keep them up to date all the time. One of the really strong links I've had is like keeping our databases up to date all the time is that I always knew when there was a change of manager. Like I knew when the salon had moved, because my background was hairdressing, and, you know, following up that sort of stuff all the time. That little tweak of like knowing that, you know, oh, Michelle's taken over this salon and Sandra's moved to this salon and that sort of thing. They feel special because I know what's going on with them. You know, like it's just that continual sort of catch up there with them all the time. Okay, so following up with the LinkedIn thing for me is a really important one. If you're going to use a lot of the social media sites now, just make sure that you do use it. A lot of people start the LinkedIn sites and then don't contribute to it, or they don't update their things. It's old information. So if you are going to go down that way, you know, rather than just the phone calls and the emails and things like that, do make sure that you keep that information really up to date. By posting things regularly, keeping that hook there, that engagement to that client all the time. Okay, so for us, one of the areas that we have worked really closely with our industry and how we created sort of great networks was we've got training record books that obviously, you know, a thing that became non-compliant and, you know, everyone had to change out. So we started creating our workplace training journals. But basically what we did is we utilised our industry to a great advantage to assist us with that, you know, by doing the trial and error. So for me, the hairdressing in the Midwestern region and that up there is very strong. We created a hairdressing industry advisory committee quite a few years ago, and the very first meeting, one person showed up. And I was just deflated. I was like, okay, here we go again. You know, and this is what I say, like, it's a building all the time. It's taken 10 years to get it where it is now, to the point that, You know, we went and had meetings. We put food on. We would ring them. You know, we wouldn't just leave it to wait them to see if they'd show up. We'd keep ringing them saying, it's on today, you're going to come, that sort of thing, you know, to keep enticing them. It just was all those little steps and that we did all the time. We've now got a really strong industry advisory committee that's involved in the feedback for training packages, development of training journals, anything that goes on in industry, hair shows, you name it, it's all has become part of it. Basically anything from Durian to Exmouth, inland to wherever, nothing happens in the hairdressing industry without them calling me and saying, Michelle, what do I do here? Michelle, I don't know what to do here. Have you heard? Do you know what I mean? Like you have become that link, you know, in between all the salons right throughout that part of Western Australia, because we've got quite a large area. So, so when it came to doing our training journals, for me, the first thing I thought of, where's my committee? Okay, let's call a special meeting. So first and foremost, we went, okay, this is the plan, you know, sort of basically, what's my plan? What am I going to do? How am I going to get them to come in and give me their time for free and engage and help me develop these tools? Okay, so that's sort of where it come back a lot that way, sort of, you know, just trying to set that up. So what I did with my team up there is we created this huge mind map and just laid it all out. Right, what do we need? How are we going to get there? Who do we need to do it? You know, what's the enticement going to be? What's our outcome? All those sorts of things. If you know mind maps, I find them very easy to work with, you know, because, you know, I like colour, so I like to put lots of different colours down everywhere. Okay, so that was the plan, radio. So we set the scene basically, and we got meeting one up, emailed them all, called them all and said, right, we've got to have this special out of, you know, time meeting. We usually have 4 meetings a year with our industry. Got them all in and said, right, this is it. They hate the training record book. Anyway, does everyone know the training record book? Everyone hate the training record book. It's a little tick and flick thing that goes to industry and says that, you know, we're compliant in industry, you know, their student, their apprentice, their trainee, but it's just a waste of piece of paper. So we set the scene. They're quite happy to be involved in it because they don't like the book either. And then we sort of said, okay, well, what we're going to do is make it task-based. We're going to make it really clear, a step-by-step for you. You'll understand. And then we'll do that. And yep, great. So we went away. We developed one unit to trial it as a workplace unit. We sent this piece of paper out to the workplace with them. And so then we've brought them back in for meeting number 2. So basically they looked like this when they went out. Like, so we basically turned it into a task for an apprentice and employer sign off, and it's a step by step, exactly what this person needs to do mapped to the unit outline. So then we would put that out to the workplace. We gave a little trial. We brought them back in for another meeting. What do you reckon? Got their feedback from it all the time. We kept tweaking and worked out through that way, and then come up with the final product that now the entire Cert 3 in hairdressing is developed with 32 tasks. It's compliant to what we need for the standards that are coming, and is now being rolled out around a number of other qualifications across the college as well. So this one here is just an example of a business unit which has been developed. So this is the handle mail. So what it's done is allowed us to be connected with our industry really, really well, but it's enhanced to them what we need them to do as well. Instead of it being like the training record books with just their elements and performance criteria, no skills and knowledge in them, these now have mapped right down to that level, but also too, it's a step-by-step of what you should be doing with your trainee and your apprentice in the workplace. So the outcome of the networking is that the training's increased in each of the areas that we've utilised these books in. We've got more industry engagement with that. They ring up and say, yeah, this is great. No, this is not quite working. We need to just tweak this a little bit more. So that's a constant building backwards and forwards between each of the organisations with each of the training journals that have been developed. And so this is business, we've got hairdressing, there's automotive, and there's quite a number of others that are on the board sort of at the moment as well. But just by engaging with the industry, they've got a product that they're really happy with and they own. They've taken ownership because of the networking. So they're utilising it and it's making our job a lot easier. So there's that side of sort of thing there. Basically, you know, with any of the training journals and things like that, again, it's just a long-term view. The relationship builds over time. It's not a step-by-step, you know, I'm going to start building a network with this business down the road and it's going to be all ready by next week. It builds in time, and no word of a lie, we've had hiccups along the way. Every time a new staff member comes in, it's almost like it's back to the drawing board again. You know, so they're used to dealing with me. So as I sort of start stepping out of the area, if we bring someone new in, tends to hit a hiccup. Okay, let's step backwards a little bit, and we reintroduce and start that network engagement with that person, with the industry as well. So it's just evolving, it's forever going all the time, what it is you're actually doing there. So for me, the opposite of networking is it's not working, okay? Our standards are heading in the direction of that it needs to be continually compliant with more industry engagement, more involvement in everything we do. So for me, it's just like we've got to get out there, we've got to build relationships with our industry across a number of different areas and get that stronger and that all the time. And by doing that, we meet all our compliance issues. It makes our life easier in the end. You do have like really harder tasks when you've got your industry up against you. You get them on board and build a relationship, it works fine. For us in the region, when you build relationships, sort of, you know, it becomes very much a friendship sort of as well. You build the bond that strong that they can't leave you. So in the world of competitive marketing, you know, you've got, you know, your private RTOs, your state RTOs, we've got the eastern states, there's everyone competing for the student contact hours and things like that. You build that relationship, they won't break it because they feel like they're going to hurt you personally. Okay, so you build a strong relationship, and then they will always be there with you. They won't go, oh, actually, I'm going to go to Joe Bloggs down the road and get my training done. Okay, so yeah, doing that side of things is really, really good. Building relationships through just continual, you know, going that little extra mile, visiting them in the workplace. Like, you know, if you're driving to work in the city, you could be driving past, you know, your normal pathway to work, and this is your clientele group here that you think, oh, well, I'm driving past, that's under new management there. Hang on. Okay, I'll be 5 minutes late for work, stop off. G'day, how you going? I'm Joe, blah, blah. Give me a call, here's my card, anything I can do to help. You've just straight away put your face there in front of the new manager to make a new connection. They may have been with a different training provider before, or, you know, that sort of thing. But it's that new connection you first make straight away, you know, and then a week later, I'll pop you back with some information. Take that information back, sell yourself, and keep building the relationship step by step, little bit by little bit, and you will get there, and you will build your business out of it for sure. It's the same with any sort of retail sort of thing. The best marketers in the world, you know, the ones that continually build relationships, you know, for, say, an internet provider. You've got Telstra. You know, we've also got Westnet, which is one of our sort of Geraldton-based ones. They've just got this amazing networking ability, the things they do for community, the follow-up processes, the stuff like that, that people, they're getting more and more of the market. It can happen in anything you do, whether it be in training, selling a dress, whatever it is. Do you know what I mean? So it's just that building those relationships, building the marketing, you know, connection with them. It's the follow-up phone call. Hi, how you going? Just checking in, that sort of thing. Pop in and have a coffee at the coffee shop you're trying to do some hospitality training at. You hop in there enough and buy the coffee. They're eventually going to let you do the hospitality training there, you know, because you're going to build that relationship. This is what I've got to offer you, okay? And that's what I mean, it takes time. You know, we've got ours, sort of the hairdressing one, for instance, 10 years it took. It's now at that strength that it's all near on unbreakable. You know, but you can never think that either. Never think that you've always got it. Just keep working at it. So thank you. Any questions?
Yes, you said something about not to eat or drink. Avoid eating or drinking.
Just excessively. Being social, but yeah, avoid that excessive sort of stuff, you know, that sort of thing. Sorry, okay, the question was the eating or drinking, to avoid that. So really for that is it to just avoid excessive eating or drinking. So you don't become the party clown over there. Okay, that's probably the main part of it. It's just, you know, keep everything in check, in balance. And like I say, we all know people, whether it be a work function, a social function, whatever it may be, where, you know, you get the one that goes to the excessive thing. You know, when it's in that professional environment, if you're trying to build those networks and make them really strong, keep it professional. Yeah. Any other questions? Okay. No worries at all. Would you like anyone online to ask a question? Yeah, they probably are. Beautiful. All right. Thank you very much, everyone.
Authorised by the Government of Western Australia, Perth.